Hello, hello, hello. So, I know what you're thinking. I did get a haircut. Thank you so much for noticing. You know, nothing else is really crazy going on. No, I'm kidding. I bleached my eyebrows like 2 weeks ago very impulsively, and I'm feeling it. It is giving salt and pepper now, which I'm still feeling more than anything, but very impulsive. I'm probably going to do it again. It's been like 2 months since I recorded a video, so like I've been going. So, I am excited to make another video. I do have one that's like sitting. It's there. I just haven't finished it for a couple of reasons. One, if you know, you know, moving iPhone footage onto a PC to try to edit is literally hell on earth. And there's other things I'm trying to figure out, but I wanted to make a video. I wanted to do something, especially being in this new apartment. Like, y'all have not seen this apartment. Like, it's been 2 months. It's kind of crazy. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I've been organizing and cleaning and getting stuff ready. And then I had an opportunity come up, and I'm very excited about said opportunity. Today's video is actually sponsored. Your boy's moving up. It is sponsored by a company that I actually personally buy stuff from, which is very exciting because it's one of those things where I have their products, I've used their products, and I usually recommend their products. So for them to reach out and want to work with me is like really sick and really exciting. Today's video is sponsored by Barina. For those who don't know, Barina is a company that focuses mainly on grow lights. I believe they have some other stuff, but my personal experience have been with grow lights. I believe I purchased the T5 lights more than anything. I use them in all of my greenhouse cabinets. I use them for my other racks. They are just so nice. They're so easy. They're very cost effective, which is another reason why I get them, because a lot of the times for the cabinets and for the racks, I need multiple lights, and the way they all interconnect with one another, the Kelvin of choice for like their yellow is just like the perfect tone where it's not too intense, but it's not also super white like a laboratory or like, I don't know, a classroom or something. They ended up sending me a plant rack. It's a 5-tier plant rack, and it comes with, I believe, 8 of the T5 lights. So it's kind of similar to the setup that I have, that I've kind of homemade for myself. This one's a lot more sleek. It is in the black color, which is really nice as well too. And it has just a couple more features, and overall just a lot better cable management. And if you know me, I love things being kind of aesthetically pleasing, and I feel like this is something that kind of hits the mark. I'm also just excited because in this apartment I don't have a lot of light. I've been really working with what I got, and I'm slowly getting grow lights, and I'm slowly getting things ready. So to have this rack come in right now is honestly like a godsend, because stuff is existing, but it's either not growing and or it's starting to die. And so I like need to get this set up, and it's going to be a perfect opportunity for me to put some of those extra plants that I haven't decided on what I'm going to do there, and also to help me rehab some of the plants, because after this we're doing some plant chores, because all my Anthuriums are literally dying and or already dead, and I want to try to save them. But without further ado, let's just get right into the unboxing.
Alrighty, once again, I have the Barina 5-tier plant rack here. It comes with 8 of their full spectrum grow lights that are 8 watts and a bunch of extra goodies as well. Now, I thought it'd be fun for us to kind of build this all together, just to show how laid back and easy this is to assemble, and also just kind of show you what to expect if you've never built one of these racks before, because they're pretty easy going, but I definitely enjoyed this one because I didn't need any extra tools. Everything came in the box that was needed. Now, I also was really hyped because I've never seen them come out with black lights. So I don't know if this is specifically for the rack itself or this is new, but they look pretty sleek. Now, going back to the build, it really only took me, I want to say, like 35, maybe 40 minutes max. And that's also because I was filming this entire thing. I think I could have done it in like maybe 25 if I like really locked in. But you can see right here, that was the one tool it came with, and that's all I really needed to get this thing fully built. So no complaints at all. Very, very easy assembly. And as long as you're following the guidebook that it comes with, you shouldn't really run into any issues. That's exactly what I did, and it was pretty smooth sailing. Now, in regards to this rack, one nice thing about it is it can hold a pretty substantial amount of weight. This thing can hold up to 220 pounds. So even if you're someone who has a little bit more like decorative pots, maybe you want to really load this baby up with plants, I would be very surprised if you ran into any issues at that point in regards to it breaking from weight, because 220 pounds is a decent amount of weight to hold. Now, obviously with racks, one of the best parts about them is you can have a little bit more of customization. You can see I actually only have 4 of the racks on here. I left the bottom a little bit bigger because I knew I was going to be putting some bigger plants down there. So I just love this because it really allows you to adjust for what you need. Now you can see here I'm putting on the little mats. These are a lifesaver. Did not realize how much I was gonna love having these. It really is a game changer to be able to put whatever I want on there without worrying about it tilting over or if I make a spill. Little detail, but having it come together in a set really made such a huge difference. If you're interested in this plant rack and you want to get a little bit more information, I do have it linked in my description. Feel free to check it out there. And as of posting it, it is also marked down on sale. So feel free to check that out. And overall, thank you so much again, Barina, for sponsoring this video. Alrighty, I got it all finished up. We just have to test the lightings. I think I have all the switches on right, so hopefully I don't have to like turn on like half of them, but I think we're good. Yay, there it is. Okay, it's honestly pretty bright. I was worried it wasn't gonna be bright enough, but I think it does the job. I have the space open a lot more, and so I'm worried that it might not be enough lighting, but we're gonna work with it. We're gonna see. If I have to adjust, I can adjust. I still technically have extra lights, so I could probably put those on the bottom one, but I'm kind of just holding on to them for the time being. Now, in regards of location, I have one spot in mind for the time being. I don't think it's gonna be there forever because I have other ideas for that area. I just haven't done anything with it yet. So we're gonna move it over there. We're gonna see if I can get it all fit, and then we're gonna load this baby up with some plants. I also wanted to show, because I don't think I really showed it off that well. You can kind of see some of the cable management right here. It's just with Velcro. It's nothing crazy, but it is really nice just to have some type of ability to do some cable management in general. Things aren't just hanging off or sticking out, which is kind of just nice. I don't know how much you can kind of see down there. Yeah, most of this right here. I tried keeping it on the same sides, but I didn't do the very bottom area only because I wasn't sure where I was gonna plug it in. I didn't know how much space I was gonna need. So if I'm able to plug it in without having to move it too much, then I'll Velcro it just to try to make it as clean looking as possible. I am gonna move it onto this blank wall here right next to my Dracaena. So a couple of reasons why I wanna do it over here. One, this Dracaena is gonna get a little bit of this excess light that kind of spills off, which will be good for it and, you know, helps out for the time being. Because like I said, I still haven't really figured out everything. But two, it just kind of fits over here, and this area in general is a little bit more dark. So I feel like this will be nice because then it'll kind of brighten it up a little bit more. There's like 2 plugins right here, and I wanted the one that was a little bit more incognito that's hidden. I think instead we're just gonna do it this way. It's like right next to the cat fountain, which I'm slightly worried about, but it should be fine. I'll just tuck this over a little bit more. And like I said, I'll Velcro it later on so it's not like in the way. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that a little bit. Yeah, no, that Dracaena will appreciate some of the extra light. It looks good. It's probably so dark from that angle, but it works. All right, I have a handful of plants I'm gonna throw on there, and then we are gonna do just a couple little chores. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. There's just things I need to repot, and then like I said, I really wanna try to save my Anthuriums if I can. First up, I have my Monstera albo. I have been having this just like really close by the other rack, but like no space in it in the rack. So I've kind of just allowed it to sit there, and it's doing good, but this really needs something. I'm gonna push it up against the wall a little bit. It is pushing on a new leaf. I don't know if it's gonna be variegated. It doesn't look like it, which like I said, we've had this thing where it's like, it gives me variegated, then it doesn't give me variegated, which is fine, but I'm hoping giving it a little bit more of a direct light will also help, and hopefully help it grow a little bit more upwards too, because that's been another thing that's been annoying with it. The other one I want to put underneath here is going to be my Ficus umbellata. Same situation, I have it just sitting like right by the other grow light, and so it's doing okay, but it needs more light more than anything. That's one that I'm not mad at, but I'm also hoping potentially like under the grow light, it might start pushing out a little bit better leaves. It's kind of just been stagnant, so I'm assuming it just wasn't close enough like the Monstera albo was. That one was pressed up against it, so I think that's why, but either way, these two were the ones I wanted to put underneath here just for height reasons. And I think I nailed it. I was worried I went too high, but this is like a perfect setup for these two. Next up, I have my bundle of sticks. This was another one that's just been existing over there. It had muleys, but I think I got rid of them. I don't see them anymore. I do need to repot this because some of it is literally just like hanging out. Like it's kind of gone. Oh, this is like kind of dead. Ooh. Yeah, this one needs some TLC. I really need to repot it. I think I'm gonna do it like right here. Yeah. So another one. Oh my gosh, I had some really healthy ones that are like popping off and not in a good way. It has been pushing out new growth, which is good, but yeah, it just needs a little bit more TLC. For sure. It's definitely just been sitting in a very dark area, so I am very happy to give it a little bit more extra light. I think that's going to be a huge help for it in general. This next one I actually am just going to be putting on the very top here. Let me move this out of the way. This is my philodendron tortum. It is growing like a weed. I am in love with this plant. I'm so happy with it. The only issue right now is that it is still being treated for scale. I'm pretty sure the scale's gone, but I don't want to put it back in the cabinet. And I probably shouldn't even be putting it up here, but I just don't know where else to put it. And I want it to get a little bit more light. And I say little, I mean little, because this was just sitting like on top of my my washer and dryer. So it just wasn't getting anything that it needs. So I want to give it like another week. I want to treat it one more time and then I'll kind of go from there. So this isn't necessarily something that is good for it. It's more so just something to keep it out of the way for the time being. The other issue is I have it on the floor right now and my cat has just been gnawing on it. So like all of the leaves are really messed up because of it, sadly. So I don't know. I'm kind of trying to decide. I really like it, but I might try to cut it and propagate it and keep it going. I'm not sure yet, but that one's just gonna go up there for the time being. This next one is the definition of just existing right now. This is my Florida Beauty reverted to Florida Green. It is in the dark. It is literally in the dark. I don't even know if I can fit it underneath here. I might have to, I think I do need to go underneath for this one. I just realized you can't even see what I was talking about, but I have the Florida Green down here for the time being. This is the only spot that's gonna fit. I'll probably readjust these again and just kind of see. I'm also deciding if I'm gonna take this one into my work. I might repot it and like kind of adjust it to give it more stability and then just put it somewhere in the warehouse. I've slowly been moving stuff in there. And the things that I move in there are really easygoing, so they've been doing really good. And I'm having fun kind of just filling this warehouse with plants because I don't think it should be filled with plants, but it is, and no one's stopping me. So I've even had people that work inside and not in the warehouse ask me to bring stuff in for the main building. So we'll see. I'm just slowly bringing more and more things in. But I think I'm gonna keep it here for now just for lighting reasons, but I'll probably end up moving it again only because this is messy and I don't really want messy. I just want things to get a little bit more light until I figure out the final stuff, because most of the stuff is where it needs to be. I just need to get grow lights. That's the one thing that I'm like holding off on right now. Here it is in all of its glory. I know it's not really that filled out, but we're gonna put more stuff in there in the future. It's just right now this is what we got working on. I'm actually really happy because that means the rest of the stuff is somewhere where it should be okay, which is kind of just the goal for the time being, is making sure things aren't dying anymore. And a lot of these things were the things that either they weren't dying, but they just did not have a good spot and they were just kind of in the way, or yeah, honestly, they were just in the way is like the best way to put it. We're gonna try to save, I think 2 out of the 3 Anthuriums. I'm pretty sure one is just absolutely gutted. The other 2, I think we might have a chance. So we're gonna get onto those next. Hello. So you might be able to tell very quickly that I am recording this a lot later. It's probably been almost a month now. My way to give it away is my eyebrows. We went from bleached to not bleached. Hi, buddy. I kind of just wanted to break the middle part before we go into the next segment to kind of explain what was going on. I am a pretty private person. I try not to say too much in my personal life. I share the things that I think make sense, and I try not to overshare. In July, pretty much a couple days after I started filming, a really good friend of mine ended up passing. It was a very just
hard and awful thing for, I think, anyone to go through. But it's kind of one of those things where, for privacy reasons and just respect, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I did want to explain myself a little bit to be like, oh, why is he like look different, or what's going on? We're still going on with the original itinerary. I am going to attempt to save some of those Anthuriums and a couple other plants as well, even though I don't think they're gonna be there, because that was a month ago, and a month ago they were already fighting for their lives, so we will see. And I'm also gonna give an update on the plant rack. I've been lucky to have it for almost a month now, so I kind of get to talk a little bit more about the things that I really, really like about it, and just the overall experience of having it in my home pretty much. So let's just go get right into it. Here is the rack now. It's in pretty much the same spot. There's obviously been a couple changes over in this area, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I do want to talk about the rack just a little bit more, since I did have the opportunity to have it for almost like a month, and kind of give you a little bit of a deeper review on it in general. It's exactly what I was expecting from having like a setup like this, but there are definitely aspects to this that have made having like a setup with like a rack and everything so much more convenient. First and foremost, I just also want to talk about my Superbum and my Monstera Albo. These have been here since the beginning, and I've kind of taken out and cycled things, and I'm still moving stuff over here kind of in and out dependingly on the location. These two things have been growing so nicely. It's been so sick to see. My Superbum's putting out a huge new frond. I'm pretty sure it's a frond leaf. You know what I'm talking about, you get it. It's been pushing out a massive one, and I am so excited to see how it looks. I think it actually might be too big, so I need to figure out a backup plan for this soon. I might have to move it down to the bottom one, because I do think this is going to shoot up, which I'm very excited about. And it's also drying out so much quicker. A lot of the plants over here are drying out so much quicker, so it's definitely making me realize like I really do not have enough light. So we're getting there. This has been a huge lifesaver. I have it off right now just because with it on, it's so bright that it's hard to see me and the rack in the plant, so I thought this would look probably the best. And then for the Albo, I think when I put it down, it was pushing out a new leaf, and this leaf ended up being the biggest leaf so far, which was really exciting. It is already pushing out another one. So the growth and the speed of growth for a lot of the stuff over here has definitely been quicker, and it's been so nice. And it's honestly a good feeling, considering that a lot of my stuff right now isn't really growing, and it's the growing season. And I know why it's not growing, but it also is just one of those things where I'm like, ugh. So this has been a huge lifesaver. I love it. The other thing that I didn't expect to love so much are like these little plastic parts on the bottom here. Game changer. It's really stupid because now that I see it, I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about this before. My rack that I kind of made myself, my own little setup, I did not get these. I saw them, thought about it, but didn't do it. Having this has been so nice because anytime I spill, it's not on the floor, through the racks, all over everything. A little bit of soil, just a little dust off, I'm good. The other thing that's so nice about it is like for some of the smaller stuff, like my 4 inches and stuff, normally when I put stuff over there, I have to like do a balancing act. And if I were to bump it or something were to happen, which I mean, this does get kind of bumped because the door outside's right there, it tilts over and then it spills and then it's a mess. That does not happen with these little mats. So 10 out of 10. Once again, one of those things where I didn't realize I needed it, but now that I have it, I need it for all my other stuff now, because it really has made a huge difference. And of course the cable management as well, like having all this just set up in like a bundle is really nice, especially if you haven't had a rack before. This is kind of one of those things where like if I would have gone this first, making my larger one would have probably been, I would have made smarter decisions, is kind of what I'm trying to say. But I highly recommend this. This is such a nice product in general, and it's been extremely helpful and beneficial for me in my space. So Brina, thank you so much again for the sponsorship. I really do appreciate it. Now to talk a little bit more about just the general area, because you might notice, this has technically been in the same area. It was a little bit more pushed over here. I have the Dracaena over here, and then I had my huge IKEA mirror. So none of that's there anymore. It's all been moved around. This is my IKEA Boaxel? I think it's Boaxel is the name of the shelf. I've seen these, I've really wanted to do it. I've been really nervous to do it, but I did it, and I don't regret it in any form. This is everything that I wanted it to be. Like, I wanted something to take up the space. Something that I have never really done in my older spaces was really use the vertical space. I'll fill up the floors and I'll fill up the areas, but I don't ever use that space. And it's something that I've really been trying to narrow down and to get down. And obviously artwork, things of that nature are really good to put up on those walls to fill up those spaces, but I just haven't found stuff that's like spoken to me, and I don't want to just like go buy and splurge and get a bunch of stuff. I rather like slowly find things. But a tall shelf was something that I envisioned over here when we were moving in, and I was like, man, this could be such a cool thing. I did my research, I saw these, this was the most cost effective, and also just more of the vibe / aesthetic that I feel like I like to think that I have or want is probably the better way to say, but I just love everything about it. The other thing that's really cute about this is all the roomies all have their own stuff on there. Like one of the roomies has their books out here, another roomie has some of their books. Lego sets are from the roomies as well, and then a lot of my stuff is like the plants. We split vinyls, but a lot of it is mine, and then I also got a new record player not too long ago. I've been very hyper-focused on vinyls and records. I don't know, there's just something about it that like has been really fulfilling. So I'm on that. I be going to the record stores, I be looking on stuff all the time. I got a Discog, like I'm in it now. So this has been kind of like a fun little like extra hobby to pick up, and I've been really enjoying it. I'm also just in love with like the aesthetic and the vibe that's going on. There are things that I still want to do over here that I haven't done yet. I have a couple ideas with some kind of lighting situation, and also the placement of the plants. They're here and it looks good, but I have been moving them and putting some of them over here or over by my other area just to get the light that they need, because they are not getting the light that they need. So I want to figure out a way to do that and or move plants over here that I know are gonna do okay but look really cool and kind of just fill it all out. So I'm gonna call it a work in progress, but I really, really do like where it's at right now. The mirror, I have it posted up against the wall over there. This is another spot that's really nice because it was something that I thought about and I talked to the roomie about, and everyone was like, yeah, no, I think that'd be a really good idea. We never hung the mirror either, and it just takes up just the right amount of space where if I want to, I can probably do something above the mirror, like maybe a couple pieces of art, or maybe I could put some lighting up there of some sorts, and I feel like it would look really, really cool. So I don't know, it's really exciting to be able to fill out the space, and I've been very proud of my old spaces before, and this one has been one where I don't hate it, but I haven't really fallen in love with it the way that I fell in love with the other ones, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and I do think this has a chance to be like one of my favorite spaces, depending on how I get things going and just what the decisions are. Like starting to really use that vertical space has been a huge game changer. I literally just realized I didn't take out my like little hairband when I was washing my face. So like my hair looks a little funky in the first clip, but you know, it's whatever. Now I didn't forget what our one mission was, and that was to try to save our Anthuriums that are all suffering. So that was like a month ago. They're dead. Like, they're probably dead. We're gonna check though. We're still gonna check because there's another plant that I also am trying to save. This one isn't dead. She's close, but I think we can resuscitate. And I want to see if we can resuscitate maybe 2 out of the 3 Anthuriums. Technically 4 because my Pallidoforum's there, but she's good. She's been chilling. We don't worry about her. She's very reliable. So we're gonna go over to the kitchen and we're just gonna see if there's anything under the hood and if anything is salvageable. I don't really think there is anything salvageable, but hey, we don't know until we check. We have made it to the kitchen. Hopefully this angle isn't too crazy. We have nowhere else to put this big ass ice machine, so you're gonna see like the back of it. So sorry, oops. But I technically have one more I need to grab. I have 4 plants we're gonna try to rescue today. One I'm grabbing right now is dead, but like we're gonna act like there's a chance, even though I know there's not. These are the plants. We have first and foremost, the one that probably hurts the most to me, my Anthurium veitchii. I'm really hoping I can save this one. This is probably the one that I care about the most. Up next, we have the Anthurium Bessier AFF. She's crispy, she's been through it. The small one here was attempted, this is my first attempt to save it, is a Anthurium werequenum, the queen Anthurium. And then right here, our potential only survivor, if I'm gonna be honest, this is my Philodendron El Choco Red. This one I actually feel confident about. I think we can save it. I'm still deciding what I'm gonna do. I might actually cut it up into a couple pieces, but we're gonna worry about that later. I think the first one that I want to attempt to see what's going on with is the Veitchii. So like I said, my expectations are below the dirt. I don't know what's below the crust of the earth. Like there's just nothing there. But you know, you gotta give it a shot. We gotta give it a try. Right here is also a huge thing of moss, because I think I'm gonna try to do it this way. This is what I did to save a couple other plants in the past, and it worked pretty well. So I'm hoping I can get the same results. The plants that I'm talking about that I saved with the moss were ones that I got during a rehab session from like Equigenera, like when I ordered from them. So this one was in moss. My Varicosum was in moss, my Amazon Sunset, which RIP, she died of spider mites, and a couple others, and it made such a difference. I have some takeout containers. I think I'm gonna use some of that moss, put it in here and do it that way so I can have individual ones. So like I said, this was probably like my favorite Anthurium, and it was doing so well. All of them were doing so well. And this move was very detrimental, unfortunately, to all of my Anthuriums except the Pallidophorum. So I am really sad. This is the one though that I had the biggest connection to. So I am hoping there's something I can do, but I see husky looking root system, so I just don't expect much. Yeah, all those roots, they're so dried. And this one was just so hard because I was giving it light and I was doing everything, but I think my biggest issue with all these Anthuriums specifically was I repotted them a couple months before the move, thinking that that was a good call, and I probably should have waited until after the move, until things were situated. 3 months was not enough. It would have been enough if there was no issues, but because there was issues, this is what happens. I think she's too dry. I don't think I have anything to work with. Let me see. I'm gonna get my little scissors here. A part of me wants to just cut off. I'm gonna go underneath here and just cut. I don't really think there's any point in me doing this. Oh my gosh. I kind of wanted to cut for 2 reasons. One, to see if there was any type of green going on, but this is where the aerial roots are kind of, and they're all dried up. So I think this one's a no-no, unfortunately. I really was going to be like, well, even if it is, I'm still going to do it. But like, I think I'd be wasting my time and resources doing it that way. So fortunately, the Veitchii is dead and gone. So very, very sad. This is one that I will be getting again, for sure. I have such a fond love of the Anthurium Veitchii. The nice thing about them is they're becoming more common, so I have a better chance of finding one that I don't have to import, and I think that will be a huge help. The goal, and one of the reasons why I think a lot of these Anthuriums suffered, was because I attempted to move them from just moss to actual like soil. And I just don't think they liked the transition. It could have been the environment that I had them in. The moss was just better. There's so many different aspects to it that I don't know 100% what was the reason of why they didn't pick up. But if I can get one in soil and have it started out that way, I think I'll have a better experience with it, and I'll be able to actually see some better growth with it in general. Now, the next one I already know is just dead. Only because I tried to save it, and when I was saving it, it was already kind of like at a point where I was like, man, I don't really know what the options are for me with that one. So the one in question is my Anthurium Aquenum. So this one, it tried. It really, really did. But even when I took it out of the moss, it just wasn't growing. Like I got bigger leaves, but I was in that situation where I would get a leaf died. I would get a leaf died. When I went to go save it, this was all that was left that was healthy. It was still pushing out leaves, but the rest of it was just kind of like rotted and not good. So that was why I decided to move it into soil in hopes that it would help, but no, it didn't. I don't know if I just didn't get the right routine down since changing it from the soil, but that one is so dry that I don't even have to think about it at that point. The other one, this one actually, we might have something. I could just be very optimistic right now, and I'm actually just like lying to myself because that's kind of on brand. But I generally do think this one could be okay. My issue with it at the time was I could not tell when it needed water properly. Like it was just sitting wet nonstop, even when I gave it a really bright light source. So I wasn't sure, so I was watering it and going back and forth. So I don't, like I said, I might just being optimistic, but I feel like there could be something. Maybe not like good roots, but it could still have a living chunk. I'm kind of looking at the newest girl just to see. Nah, she crispy. She crispy. Yeah, I think all my Anthuriums that I got from Equigenera and spent years rehabbing, not years, it was probably like a year of rehab and then kind of getting them out and going. I think they're toast. Let's cut, I'm gonna cut below here just to see. Yeah, that's completely dry. Oh, what a bummer. I am so sad. The Bessier I really enjoyed. The Warwick Plenum was cool. I don't need it again. That was definitely impulsive and just like everyone had it, I want it. And I'm kind of out of that phase of plants, I think. Don't get me wrong, there's things that come up that weren't there before where I'm like, wait, I love this. But I definitely feel like I'm kind of out of the like, oh, I need to have what's popping right now. Not that that's a bad thing. I think there's a reason why things get popular, whether it's because they're easy to take care of or they have a unique look or whatever the case may be, right? There's nothing wrong with that part, but I just generally think I'm coming to my senses more and more and not just impulsively getting stuff. I mean, you can tell right off the bat, like my collection itself is shrunking quite a lot, if I'm gonna be honest, and it's still kind of shrinking right now. I wouldn't say on purpose. There's things that have died. Like my Jungle Boogie does not exist with us anymore. I think I threw something away a couple days ago. One of my pings just randomly died, and I was actually doing really good with that. I don't know why it died, but it did. So it's just one of those things, you know, where it's like, I'm kind of just going with the flow. I'm figuring it out. I'm not overdoing anything, and I have been having a better time taking care of what I have now and making sure things are looking good, and that's been really nice. All right, and the one that I actually know has a chance to be saved, my Philodendron El Choco Red. Now this one actually did really good on TikTok when I potted it up. I had a ton of people really like it. They thought the combination was pretty. I loved it. I was eating it up. I think my biggest mistake with this one, I shouldn't have done a self-watering pot. I think that was my biggest issue. It also ended up getting scale and spider mites, and then I moved, and then I stopped caring. I stopped caring about a lot of things. So this is our repercussions. Now I still water it, and it's still existing, and it's still firm and kind of healthy. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this. This was also a bad call. Not bad, but like this moss definitely started getting like, I wanna say moldy. I think moldy is the right term. This is one of the self-watering ones. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I made sure it wasn't gonna be filled with water. I'm gonna leave it in just because of how this is laid out. I think I'm just gonna pull it out. I know I should probably like dig out some of the top rocks and stuff, but like, I'm just gonna pull it out. If the roots, I don't think there's any healthy roots left. And if there are, I'm probably just gonna cut stuff off. No, I probably should be responsible and just dig it out. What sucks is I wanna keep the top rocks, but I feel like it's kind of a pain to do so. Like not awful, maybe I could do it and then I'll like rinse them off or something. I'll try my best to rinse them off. But yeah, this is I think the only plant that I've ever done a top layer on. And it's not because I like did it and I was like, oh, I'm never doing it again. I actually really love top layers. I think it's such a pretty thing, especially when you have like a nice pot and plant combo. It's like that last little finishing thing to elevate it just a little bit more. And I want to do it. A lot of the top layers I see are kind of expensive. I'm pretty sure I got this from IKEA. And I think the little thingy I got of it was like, I don't know, like $5, which was fine, but there's some bags of them, when I say bags, I'm not even talking about like big bags, just bags that are like $20 at some of these nurseries. I'm like, look, I love it, but I don't love it $20. Like, hang on now. So I don't know. It's something that I want to get into more often. And it's also one of those things where I want to be more thoughtful about it, which is I think why I haven't bought any more. Cause I'm like, oh, I want to go through my stuff and I want to pot stuff up properly and I want to like actually find top layers that are complementary and not just get like one or two and be like, well, it's either this or this. Like, be a little bit more thoughtful. I got the majority of that out, so I think I'm going to just go for it now. The other thing that's rough about this is because it's a self-watering one, there's aeration stones underneath. And I kind of don't want to lose those if possible. This is like mud. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Okay. So there are a lot of roots down here. Yeah, this is like very, very muddy. Very muddy. I mean, it's understandable that it is as muddy as it is, but I definitely think the soil type that I use also, I think I should have made it more airy. Okay, now that we've done that, I'm gonna just put this back here. Move this up there. I'm excited to get that pot back too. Are any of these like really salvageable is the question. That's kind of all that I'm really checking for. They're very fine and kind of dainty. The bottom part is not rotted, which is cool. It doesn't smell like rot. Do I have dirt on my face? I feel like I might have gotten dirt on my face. It doesn't smell like rot. So I actually might keep this and we might cut this up into a couple pieces because like, why not, right? We're gonna cut this up into maybe 2 to 3 pieces. I have my isopropyl alcohol and I'm just gonna douse this on. And let's see, I'm gonna take back this sheath real quick. I think I'm gonna cut like right here first, because these have little aerial roots and they were starting to grow. So I think I'll try to do maybe this like laying flat and we'll see what happens. And like one of the little, yeah, it should fit. So I'll try that there. And then we have a little bit more aerial roots going on over here. So I can do a couple if I wanted to. Let's go this one. We're definitely gonna just bury. And then our last big top piece, I'm gonna peel this off all the way through just to kind of see what's going on, because it definitely was starting to rot. I noticed that. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna just keep this piece here and we'll just see what ends up happening. So yeah, we have these 3 pieces now and we're gonna put them in a container. Honestly, I might just put them all in the same container. I'm not even gonna play. Now that I got everything cleaned up, I'm gonna rinse the roots off with water real quick. This will also be a good way to just see like if anything is actually really fragile and not healthy. So we'll kind of knock it off. Plus we don't want the soil in the moss. I want to try to get as much of that off as possible. Another thing that I was thinking about too, this is me just rambling more than anything, but I think I messed with the Anthurium roots. I think on all of them, I think I messed with them a little too much because I watched more videos of people repotting them and I realized a lot of the times they just don't touch them. So I think that was one of my other issues. I think I might have just been a little bit too loving to those Anthuriums, and that might have been one of the reasons why they struggled so much as well. Yeah, the roots are definitely healthy over here. Like they're actually starting to push out some new growth now that I can see with the soil off. Not all of them are good though. I can definitely see some of them are breaking off. I think that's enough there. The other ones are totally good. I have my moss here. I have had this in this container and I have it under a grow light in hopes that I can get it to like come back to life. I know it's like kind of like a certain type of moss you want to get, but a lot of the times I just get algae, which is definitely what I have here. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go through and I am just going to do like a layer pretty much on the bottom. I don't want to do anything super, super crazy, but I do want to make sure it's relatively set because I want this to retain as much moisture as possible. I'm kind of making like a small humidity box pretty much is like the best way to think about it. The first one I want to do is this big guy. I feel like I actually might have to dig him a little bit in some of the spots. There we go. Yeah, he's gonna take up a decent amount, which is okay. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit on top there. But I think that one's good there. This one, I'm gonna kind of just bury, to be honest. I'm gonna like dig over here and just bury it a little bit. There is, I can kind of show you. This looks to be like a potential auxiliary bud. Is that the term? Am I getting mixed up? I forgot all the verbs and the terms. I really did. But I'm pretty sure this is where another grow point can come out of is what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna bury this, but try to keep that a little bit more exposed. And I'm not like pressing too hard over here in the soil. I just want it to be covered is kind of the goal. So we have our 2 there, and then we have this one. This one, I'm gonna just kind of put at an angle. And I'll just keep an eye at it. The top part is where I feel like it's gonna push out growth, but a part of me kind of just is like, maybe it's not going to, because it is showing like a little bit of like potential, I don't know if rot's the right word, maybe. But it looks like it's a little black. So yeah, it looks like it could be kind of rotting. But this is kind of just what I have as the setup. I'm gonna go run real quick and get my little mister bottle, and I'm just gonna mist it pretty thoroughly. We're gonna shut it up, and then I might just honestly go put it underneath the grow light where on the rack. I feel like that's honestly probably a perfect spot. All right, so I am just gonna mist this real quick. I don't want it like dripping with water. I just want to know that it's moist is kind of the goal. Perfect. We have this all set. It has a little bit of weight to it, so I know that there's some water going on. And then we're just going to close this up. Oh, that's why I was like, why does it feel weird? Because there's a whole other one underneath. I am going to go put it under the rack, and this is our one and only survivor, unfortunately, today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Let me know what you want to see for the next video. I have a couple ideas. Part of me wants to do like a little apartment tour because I've kind of shown chunks of it, but I haven't done a full one, which would be kind of fun. But another part of me wants to wait to finish up one other area, like the TV entertainment area. I have a couple more things I want to do there. And I haven't touched outside. Outside is like probably the one spot that's like where all the trash and grossness is. The other idea that I thought about doing was I have my IKEA Millsbo, my white cabinet that's right here. It's a mess and it's gross and there's so much going on. And so a part of me kind of wants to do like maybe like an overhaul where I like take everything out, clean it, readjust, move stuff around and kind of make it pretty again. I feel like that could also be kind of a fun video and we can kind of just see what's growing in here because there's a lot of random stuff right now. A ton of random stuff. But either way, I do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. If you liked the video, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. Once again, thank you so much again for Barina for sponsoring this video. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. With that being the case, I hope everyone has a lovely rest of their day or night, wherever you may be, and I'll catch you next time. Later.